And joining us at the mic today is Andy Amstuz. He is the Vice President of IT for Autokiniton. Andy, welcome to the mic.
Thank you.
Autokiniton, what do they do?
We make steel stampings and welded assemblies for the automotive industry. So the frames and the body in white are the structural components of the vehicle that protect the passengers in a crash.
So you are hardcore manufacturing.
Hardcore manufacturing, steel. Yes.
It's a noble calling, I would say, yeah.
But Andy, you also wear another hat, and that's why we're here today at the Midwest User Group. So tell us about your role here as the president of the user group. What do you do?
Yeah, so I also serve as the president of the Midwest User Group board. The board of directors for the Midwest User Group meets year-round, plans 2 conferences a year, engages with the industry that is around the QAD ERP system, as well as the other QAD ecosystems, the products, and it's a lot of fun.
Why are user groups so important to everybody that comes here? What do you think they get out of them? I always like to tell people when I do training at MMO in the industry, I'm always telling people to plan. You need to get to the user groups. You need to understand what's going on with your software, make sure that you're using all the capabilities. But what do you see as somebody that's been to user groups for many years and now is the president?
I think it has a lot to do with having a community of support around you. And I think it's very similar with AIAG, right? That like having that community of people that you can rely on, that you can call upon, that you can say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Like, how did you solve this problem? Or what are the new things that I need to know are coming up? How do we engaging with partners and things of that nature? It just forms that ecosystem of people that you can engage with.
Yeah, that peer support is incredibly important. I think it's one of the underrated benefits of being an AIG member is you have that network of peer support around you at all times. And it's exemplified here at the conference. I've already noticed it this morning, Andy, so kudos to you on that.
Yeah, that's great.
Sure.
That is absolutely the environment that we want to produce.
What do you think some of the people in the room are going through right now with the change of automotive and the change of pace and what's going on in automotive? It's kind of a crazy world right now. So what are some of your peers going through right now?
It's a world out there. I think that you see a lot of variation in volumes, a lot of increase in requirements and in quality requirements. I think that the pace, the volatility, the unknowns that are in the industry right now, there's a lot of struggles.
Andy, as the leader of IT at Autokiniton, how do you manage through all this? How do you keep the business community happy, give them what they need, stay ahead of the game? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, it's not an easy task. And for any technology person in a manufacturing company, right? You're looked at as the expert, like, well, you're in charge of IT, you must know everything.
Right, and just fix it, by the way. Right?
Yeah, and just, by the way, when is that going to be fixed, right? It's a struggle to keep up on it, and I think that's part of why the community becomes so important, because no one of us knows it all, right? I mean, we rely on one another as a team to understand what's happening between our things that are changing in our infrastructure, things that are changing in our ERP environment, right? As well as things that are happening in the AI front. I mean, things change very quickly.
Yeah, we just heard on that from Sanjay directly on that from QAD just moments ago. I was actually quite interested in what he had to say about AI and these different phases of what QAD is implementing. What are your thoughts on some of those tools that are in the pipeline?
So it's really pretty amazing in terms of how far things have come just in the last year. And we're seeing that in a lot of different areas. I think that in the beginning, AI was very much a solution looking for a problem. Now, when companies that specialize in certain areas, like manufacturing, like safety, really are now utilizing the tools and embedding those tools within their products, now we actually have things that we can give to a manufacturer that they can make use of.
I've known you for years at Autokiniton. You're a great customer, and you're a tier 1 supplier. And we had a tier 2 supplier on prior to you. But at a tier 1 level, you really do a great job. When I look at leaders in IT, you are always ahead of the game. Years before, I think most tier 1 auto suppliers are. What do you attribute that to? Is it the culture? I know it's you, but how are you so visionary and always being on top of your organization and your industry?
Well, we're definitely always looking ahead. Our customers are always pushing us to do better. Our customers are certainly pushing us from a quality standpoint, from a reliability standpoint. When we talk reliability for IT, a lot of times we're talking cybersecurity. We're talking about the impact of the supply chain with how do we make sure that our IT and our OT environments are secure, right? And so it's interesting in that a lot of times tier ones have to act very entrepreneurial, and we have to really be looking at how do we take advantage of ensuring that we can build that reliability into our environment.
And how do you break down the silos at Autokiniton? Because you're very good. You're always doing things across the border with supply chain, with quality. How do you break those silos down? How have you been successful at that?
So I think that one of the best ways to do that is to really just be engaged with the business leaders, right? So we have cross-functional teams as well as corporate teams, corporate materials, corporate quality that help to drive our manufacturing plants. And from an IT standpoint, we're engaged with each of those teams, right? So they're helping to drive standards across the organization, and we're helping to prepare those standard processes.
Yeah, I think it's so important to stay in touch cross-functionally. Even in the smaller companies, I think it's easy to get siloed within the organization and kind of focus on your own priorities. So it's great to hear that you guys have tools in place and mechanisms in place to keep everything rowing in one direction together, it sounds like.
I like the cross-functional approach,
Yeah.
but something that just struck me listening to Sanjay's keynote earlier is the depth that we're now going into the shop floor, into manufacturing. Mm-hmm. No longer are we just not really investing or paying that much attention to our frontline workers. We're talking about bringing data to our frontline workers so that they can make decisions. How do you feel about that?
We've actually been doing that at Autokiniton for a number of years now. So we have a very mature manufacturing execution system so that our operators have a display that tells them on the last 10 cycles, how did I do? This shift, how have I done? Last shift, how did they do? Like having that data being presented, every single work center, every single operation that we have operation displays that display that data and make it available to our frontline workers.
There it is, Autokiniton ahead of the curve. Andy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks.